This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 278 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. This episode is sponsored by Kentucky Performance Products, Total Saddle Fit, and EasySignsOnline.com. This is Lindsay McCall from Jupiter, Florida.
And this is Regina Cristo from Sand Lake, New York. And you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show, brought to you this week by the United States Para-Equestrian Association.
Well, thanks, Jen, for taking over for Glenn this week.
My pleasure.
So, Regina, what have you been up to since last we spoke?
Oh, well, it's been a busy summer. Getting to know my new horse. I have a new horse this summer who I even have at the back of my mind someday might be a fabulous para horse. I can't help to every horse I'm around looking at the horse and saying, could this horse possibly do para? So I've been doing that and just graduated from the USDFL program in the last week or so, which I'm really happy about that. So it's been a busy few months, but everything's good. How are you doing, and how is that precious baby?
That precious baby you might be able to hear right now, our poor audience. She is crying right now. She's with my husband, and she's been wonderful. I am trying to find time to take showers, eat. So I know why people get skinny after having a baby, because they don't ever get to eat.
Didn't they tell you that in Baby 101? No eating, sleeping, relaxing, or vacationing for the next 18 years.
I can verify that. I have 4 children, so I was hungry and skinny for a long time.
There you go.
And my arms are so tired. Now, this baby is she's huge, and she's 15 pounds. She's almost 4 months, and she is 26 inches tall. So she's a very large baby. So I have this baby that I'm hauling around who doesn't have a lot of head control, who's like, looks like a month old.
Oh, well, we can't wait to meet her in January in Florida at the show. I'm sure you'll be bringing her along, or you won't be able to come. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, I look forward to getting back into the swing of things, getting back to riding and all that other stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing and meeting her.
So I know Reese and Philip will be back again next week for our show, but I wanted to I guess, talk about, we have a little bit of news for para. We ended the World Equestrian Games, and now we're headed into our show season down here in Wellington, Florida. And we have a show coming up January 7th through the 11th, and it's CPEDI 3-star. And then, right after that, it looks like we might have a high-performance clinic held at Vince Ramos Therapeutic Riding Center.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a good start to the year, and hopefully we get a lot of riders to come and participate in both events in Florida. I know I'm sure going to try to get there, and I think it's going to be an exciting year. It's kind of one of those off years before Rio in 2016, but I think gives us a lot of time to take what we learned from the games and keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So up next on our show, I guess we'll be talking we'll have Mary Jordan on the show, first of all. And Mary Jordan is a grade 4 para dressage rider. She's been a para dressage rider and dressage rider for many years, and she's been part of the program for a long time. And she's qualified as the only para dressage rider who has come from the is going to the able-bodied U.S. dressage finals next week. So we'll be talking to her about that. Yeah, and then we also have Susan Guinan on the show, and she's coming on the show to kind of talk about, she's a director of development from Vince Ramos Therapeutic Riding Center, and she has connected the dots where Catherine Haddad-Staller donated Rubicon 75, this horse, and connected Mary to Catherine and Mary to this horse, and now Mary has this wonderful partnership with this horse and that she's going to be taking to the finals.
Great. And we will also have with us Jim Koford, who is Mary's trainer. And Jim is a four-star eventer and a Grand Prix rider with lots of experience and miles under his belt. And he's very excited to be working with Mary and very excited just to be involved with the para program in general.
That's pretty cool. And we're going to get right to our first interview with Mary and Susan right after this message from Total Saddle Fit.
The saddle fit solution you have been waiting for is finally here. TotalSaddleFit.com is proud to introduce the Shoulder Relief Girth. This strategically shaped girth actually moves the girth line of your saddle back over 1 inch, thereby freeing your horse's shoulders from the saddle. Traditional girths pull saddles up against a horse's shoulders and often over the top of the shoulders. The Shoulder Relief Girth's recessed ends allow for the billets to buckle into the girth farther back to give your horse unparalleled freedom of motion. We are so certain that your saddle will fit better and your horse will be more comfortable that for a limited time we are offering a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. If you are not totally satisfied with your Shoulder Relief Girth, send it back for a full refund plus 10% of the purchase price. Don't wait. Order now for the best saddle fit solution available.
At TotalSaddleFit.com. Visit TotalSaddleFit.com.
We'd like to welcome Susan Guinan from Vince Ramos Therapeutic Riding Center here tonight on our radio show, hosted by myself, Lindsay, and Regina. And we'd also like to talk to Mary Jordan. So thanks, you guys, for all coming on the show tonight.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Hi, ladies.
So I guess, there's a reason we have all of you on the phone tonight. And really we want to talk about Mary Jordan. She is headed to the finals, the U.S. Dressage finals coming up here in November. And we want to talk about how that partnership got started with Rubicon 75. That's her horse. The horse was originally owned by Catherine Haddad Stoller and donated to Vince Ramos. And Susan, maybe you can give us a little bit of insight on how that all occurred and maybe how that relationship started.
I'd be happy to do that. I think that the history of how the relationship started between the USPEA with Hope Hand and myself meeting in a parking lot one Sunday afternoon, and Hope shared with me some of the challenges and struggles that the para riders were having finding appropriate horses to compete in order for the U.S. team to develop and get stronger. And so we shared some phone calls, emails, and we at one point found a horse called Peachy Ganda that's now out with Donna Panessa. And it started there. And I met Mary when she came and stayed here at Vince Ramos in January of 2012 to qualify for the Paralympics in London. And she was stabled here with two of her horses, Sebastian and Clever. And so we kind of knew each other. And then Catherine and Mary met, and they were trying to develop a relationship with Rubicon 75. And Vince Ramos came into the picture because we have been able to take ownership of those horses and make them available for the para-equestrians to ride going forward. And it's a beneficial relationship between the donor of the horse, Vince Ramos, and the para-rider.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds wonderful, Susan, and great for our para-riders to have a resource like Vince Ramos. Can you, for people who might not know, just give us a little background on Vince Ramos and what you do there and what your goals are, just to share with people who might not know?
Sure. Vince Ramos is a therapeutic riding center. We're accredited by PATH International. That's the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship. And we've always had an interest in making sure that every rider reaches their potential no matter what that potential is, that we are always challenging our riders, whether they're have a physical disability or a cognitive disability, to work and be as dedicated to their sport as all of us are to our sport. And we have been providing therapeutic riding here in Loxahatchee, Florida for 33 years. Our executive director, Ruth Menner, started the program with one rider and one horse in the backyard of a friend. We now see 130 riders a week and have 23 horses on property. We see riders with a multitude of challenges and disabilities. And we we pride ourselves on, you want to ride, we're going to make it happen. So we love our horses and our riders equally.
I think it's really great, Susan, that you linked up with this great quarter rider, Mary Jordan, who's been one of our wonderful para-dressage riders who has done a lot. And she was even on the 2010, where she rode as an individual at the World Equestrian Games. So, Mary, tell us what's so important about, I guess, what's so special about Rubicon and kind of what you're going to be doing this next week.
Oh, Rubicon, he's just off the charts. He's just an amazing animal. And when I got an opportunity to go try him, which was actually between my last class at Global at the CPDI and the awards ceremony, I had a half an hour to run over and try him. And it was like love at first sight, is the only way I can describe it. And literally, he's like the horse of my dreams. And we just felt an instant connection. So to be able to enter into this beautiful relationship on the sunset of Sebastian's career with the promise of what's in the future, it was just an amazing set of circumstances, and one I'm very grateful for.
No, Mary, we know that you've got big things coming up in the next week or so, competing that lovely horse at the dressage finals in the able body. But what are your plans with Rubicon in the future for para?
Well, I really see a lot of potential with Rubicon in a couple of different ways. One thing I should take a step back and explain about why it felt like such an amazing natural fit with Vince Ramos as well is that, when I wake up every morning, I'm a person with MS, a person with multiple sclerosis, but one who has big dreams, and my riding's always been a conduit to getting out a message of great hope for those with MS and for those with physical disabilities. So while Rubicon entered my life as a para-equestrian hopeful, and one that I hope to take to the Rio Paralympics in 2016, what was exciting about taking him to an able-bodied competition in dressage and doing so well and being able to win a regional championship on him is that I see it as a great opportunity to bridge the gap between able-bodied dressage and para-dressage, and to hopefully be an ambassador for that effort, to connect other riders, other para-riders with the sport.
And not only that, you're also an ambassador in a way for Vince Ramos and what they're doing and their mission. And I want to ask Susan, what is your role as an owner of this horse? What do you guys do, I guess, on a daily basis, or what is your involvement with this horse for Mary?
Our job is to be cheerleaders. Our job is to be there for Mary and support her in whatever way she needs support. But other than that, we basically stay out of the way. Mary has the relationship with the horse right now. We are not an owner that shows up and says, okay, so what are you feeding? Well, I don't like that. You need to change it. Mary has the best interest and knows her partner better than anybody. So, as I said earlier, our main job was to be a facilitator, to find a willing donor of a horse and find an appropriate rider and make that partnership happen. And we are thrilled to be able to do that.
And you've become very involved with para-dressage over the years, and I know I've met you personally, and you're such a cheerleader for the para-dressage, and not only that, for para-driving. And I heard that you guys are going to be having a high-performance clinic at Vince Ramos with the para-drivers and para-dressage riders. I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, we're in the planning stages of that right now. We're hoping to hold that clinic January 11th and 12th here at Vince Ramos. So you'll have to stay tuned so that we can let you know who the clinicians will be and how that will go forward. Hope and I were talking about that earlier. So, but we're always interested in supporting parasports in general, and we're supporters of not only parasports but Special Olympic sports as well.
Right.
Now, Mary, I was interested in your perspective as you've been doing crossover, as we say, between para-dressage and able-bodied dressage. And you hear quite a bit of other people doing that are para-riders that have the ability to ride in, able-bodied dressage as well. And I think doing one and the other, they both are a good benefit. What would you say your riding in able body has enabled you to be a better para rider?
Absolutely, and it really was a great opportunity to also push the envelope and ride some different tests and see the interconnectedness of the two sports together, because at the end of the day, it really is about dressage and about that relationship that you develop with your partner. And I have been riding a lot of the para tests somewhat exclusively for the past year and a half to hone the test riding and to learn how to ride those tests very well, because there is a knack and an art to doing them well, especially on the international stage. But I think for myself as a rider and for my horses, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air to get out in an able-bodied arena in a championship setting to do something new or revisit something that I used to do. And it was really, really exciting because let me tell you, winning that championship out of 23 riders at Socrates in September, it was just an incredible feeling. Like, not only did I win such a quality competition, but it just felt good to be able to do that as a para in able-bodied clothing. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
It was a real shot in the arm. And the other thing that's quite true about competing these days is that a lot of our top international and national para judges see a lot of able-bodied, and to kind of go in the ring and stand and be counted on a similar scale with your able-bodied counterparts, that's a great exercise to do, and one, thankfully, with my health being great, I'm able to do. So,
so would it be something you would recommend to other para riders? Because not everybody can get to the big shows all the time, and a lot of para riders are going to their local shows or even schooling shows just to get the mileage in the TAC and in a show environment. I see it as could only strengthen their riding and their ability to actually step up to the plates at a big show when they really need to. And so is that something you think is beneficial for all para riders if they can get in the ring, whether it's a para test or a national test?
Absolutely. I think it is a fabulous idea because each test that we ride gives us an incredible opportunity to be a great ambassador for our sport and to show where the similarities, not the differences, lie. And, going back to kind of my mission about being out there as an MS patient in sport, it's to show what we can do and not what we can't do. And if anything that we've learned in these international competitions in the past few years is that the experience of getting down center line for our own nerves and our horses' show nerves, it's only beneficial that we get out and develop a good, solid core of experiences that will serve us well, in those big league competitions down the road. But it all starts with the grassroots and with getting up every morning and stepping out your door and being an ambassador for the sport.
Mary, you found this lovely horse to Rubicon to continue with and to continue for the next 2 years with. And I know in Able Body they have the blue ribbon panel where they're kind of connecting the riders and the horses and everything. And what is, I guess, Vince Ramos is starting this as well. They're kind of our blue ribbon panel, aren't they?
Absolutely. I cannot thank Vince Ramos enough for the opportunity that they've created for me with this very special horse because, I've ridden Sebastian, who I've adored for years, as everybody knows, and this year he's 21, and I had to look at where my next partner was coming from, and I have been all over the planet trying horses. I think I tried over 75 horses in the last year or so. And when the Blue Ribbon panel came up and they made a website about FEI riders gaining access to being paired with top international mounts, I thought this was a great idea. So I signed up on that website, because I fit the criteria. I had ridden at a World Games. I had done this. I had done that. And I found out I was ineligible to be in that queue to be paired with a top horse. And I also learned I wasn't the first para that tried to apply for this program. So there you are. You're a para looking for a medal contending horse, that they typically cost $1 gazillion. And what do? And what the beauty of Vince Ramos's relationship to Wellington and to the top international riders from all over the world that filter through that region. And Susan's been a great ambassador to connect those people to her program. It was just amazing to be able to access these types of horses that we need going forward. And for me, it's been a real win-win because, as I said, I feel a kinship with Vince Ramos for all the good work that they do for every type of rider that comes through their doors. And to be a part of that, it's almost a better feeling to be partnered with somebody like that than if you were just going out for something yourself, So
Right.
I'm grateful for what they're doing for our sport. I think the
other
thing that's important to recognize is the willingness of the dressage community at large to participate in making those horses available, whether it is through the Blue Ribbon or it is through the USPEA and the para riders. They're out there. They are very supportive of everything that these riders are trying to accomplish, and we must give them a round of applause for that willingness to participate and hear the challenges that para riders are having and how they can help and how they can support. That's been very rewarding. And I second what Susan's saying too, because none of this would have happened really if Catherine Haddad Scholar didn't also step up and seek out this relationship with the two of us. And with her expertise as an international rider and competitor, she's been absolutely wonderful too in partaking with the symposiums that we've had and how she's made herself accessible to the para community as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, it's been fabulous to talk to both you, Mary, and you, Susan, down in Florida. And I think people listening to this program and listening to this interview will really have a better way to think about what's actually happening and how these relationships start. It takes a wonderful program that Vince Ramos has and people like Susan. And then on the other end, we have Mary Jordan, a para rider, and it's kind of cliche that it says it takes a village, but it does though. It takes a lot of people to make these relationships happy. So thank you both for being with us tonight. We really appreciate your time, and best of luck to you, Mary, in Kentucky next week.
That was lots of fun talking with Susan and Mary, and we're going to hang on to Mary and throw her into the next interview with her trainer Jim right after this commercial from Easy Signs Online.
This week's EasySignsOnline.com spotlight product is their New England Style Farm Signs, their most popular line of signs. New England Style Farm Signs are very durable and designed for long-term outdoor use with no maintenance required, no wood to rot, and no paint to peel. They will outlast the old style painted wood signs by many, many years. They are available in many sizes, shapes, and styles, which makes them the perfect sign for any farm or business. Go online today and go through the EasySignsOnline.com easy step-by-step ordering process to see all the prices and options available. They also offer free, no-obligation sign proofs on all New England-style signs, and you get free shipping as well on all New England-style signs. So replace your old worn-out sign and make a great first impression with a new farm sign from EasySignsOnline.com. And the holidays are right around the corner, so it's a terrific gift idea. I can't think of a better one. Visit EasySignsOnline.com.
Good evening, Jim. It's Regina. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us tonight.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Well, why don't you start by telling our audience a little bit about yourself and your relationship with Mary Jordan as her trainer and what you hope to see happen in the future with Mary and her horse.
I have known Mary for quite a long time. I've known her through her eventing days and now in her dressage days. So we've known about each other for years. I've worked with her for years, and with her last horse, Sebastian, I helped get her through the selection trials for last year's WEG, and now we are looking forward with a new horse to getting her ready to do, first of all, the national championships next week at third level. And then onward from there, going into Florida to do some CDIs and working towards the selection trials for Rio in 2016.
Jim, when you kind of met Mary, but met Rubicon, and this horse came into your guys' lives because you've been working with Mary for a while, kind of what was the adjustment, and kind of tell me about what happened, I guess, on that first week.
Well, it was quite a whirlwind because Mary picked up the horse and then had to leave shortly for Europe. And so I didn't get a chance to work with her before her first few shows in Europe. So she met with a coach in England and was based over there. so my relationship with Rubicon, I had seen him compete in Florida with a rider at Catherine Haddad's, but I had not ridden him or gotten any chance to know him other than standing in the sidelines watching. So my first real, the first time I got to sit on Rubicon and teach was when I went up to do a clinic this summer in Maine.
And
So,
what have
Jim-
you guys been working on lately, kind of getting ready for the finals?
I mean, that's basically what we've been. The horse is very well schooled. He didn't need to learn any exercises. He came to me after winning regionals. I'm trying to make it so that he's a very big horse, a very scopy moving horse, and he's also insecure, especially in unfamiliar surroundings, and then develops attachments to other horses. And when he's separated, he gets anxiety attacks. And when he gets anxious, he's giant. He's a huge horse. He's, I don't know, 17.2, 17.3, and that's just, it's a lot of horse for anybody to ride, but especially someone Mary's size. So I've just been trying to get him more secure, ride him in situations where he's maybe could be his trigger, and then helping him learn to cope and to diffuse tension and to not sort of tune out the rider, but to actually stay focused, stay calm, keep breathing, and keep doing the work. So it's not like I've been doing classical dressage schooling, because that's there. It was just his sort of how he processed stress, and when he was stressed, just getting him to stay with the program, stay on the aids, and so that's pretty much what we've been working on.
So, Jim, can you tell us a little bit, did you have any background working with para riders before Mary? And what are your thoughts on the para dressage in general?
Well, it's been a long time, and back, it was a long time ago. It was, I went with a couple of riders, the U.S. riders. They were riding in Holland at a para competition, and I was a chef for the U.S. riders. But that was quite a while ago. It was, bottom line, I don't have a lot of it. That was my first exposure to the whole para program, and that was like more than 10 years ago. And and so. But what made me realize 10 years ago, and is still true today, the para riders over there were so well mounted and were riding at such a high level. And it's not that our U.S. riders can't, but it's a leap when you go across the pond and see see the horses these guys are on, and the test that they can ride. It's really amazing. And, here we don't, the country is so big, and there doesn't seem to be a really centralized program for training. So it's sort of catch as catch can. Everyone sort of has their own coach and their own program. And, frankly, there's just not that many coaches that have any much experience with this. I mean, I saw Heather Blitz at the selection trials and Denny Cowan, and both of them did a great job, but I don't think any of us have any sort of depth of experience. So, we're coaching para riders. So pretty much, we're all experienced Grand Prix dressage riders. And so, it's an additional challenge, and it's sort of a fun challenge to work with the riders and to work with their abilities and challenges that they face to try to produce the horse so they can be competitive. So, like I said, I don't really have a background, but we're all a little bit out of our depth, but at the same time, all you can do is roll up your shirt sleeves and somehow try to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common, Jim, just from my personal experience with para and as a horse owner for para riders, that most of the time some of our really big name trainers and just trainers in different areas of the country, they seem to hook up with a para rider and nobody really knows that much about it, but all these great relationships form, and the trainers, they just get right into it, and there's success story after success story. So, like you say, there's not a lot of people with experience, but once they get their hands in it and get with a rider and a horse, things happen.
Mary, and when you guys kind of all got together, you got this wonderful horse, and you actually ended up going to Europe first, and you did well in Europe, and then you came back, and you're working with Jim again. And what is that, I guess, what is that bond now that you have with this horse, and how is Jim helping you kind of solidify this bond?
Well, first, I it was interesting because, as I mentioned, when the horse first became available to us, it was right in the middle of a competition. And in my show clothes, grabbing Jim, we raced across town to, make a 15-minute decision about, if this was the type of project that we wanted to take on. And we definitely did. So, I definitely trusted, Jim's experience as a horseman, as a competitor, for his insights into that. And then, as Jim mentioned, it was kind of a whirlwind that, I was kind of cut loose and, went to Europe. But, through it all, I always felt completely comfortable with Rubicon in strange settings. I feel connected to him, and I trust him. And what was great was to come back to the States and go back to the lab and finally have some time to spend with Jim and the horse, all of us together, and kind of drill down into what makes him tick, and how to build a solid relationship going forward. I'm not intimidated by his size. He is a huge horse. It's a very physical ride, because of his size and the amount of movement. It's kind of off the chart. So it's required me to do some deep conditioning and lay down the foundation, but it's all very exciting and very good.
And you're the only paradressage rider going to these finals this year. And I've heard at one time there was another paradressage rider that has gone to this, but that's kind of a unique, special place to be in, isn't it?
It's an incredible honor, to be there. The USDF finals, such as they are in their second year. So I think, being able to, like I say, bridge that gap between para and able-bodied, and I fully intend to pursue able-bodied dressage goals as well. It's great to be able to do both. And I think in talking with Robin Brookman years ago, she had a horse that she did the young horse championships with, and she got an invite to whatever national championship they had. But the sport has grown and changed, and these finals are a new opportunity for riders. Which is great. It's great to be a part of that. I'm very, very excited.
So just to follow up a little bit too, Jim, as a parent, coach, and trainer now, we're always looking for trainers, especially trainers with a lot of experience, to get involved with our para riders. Could you just give a few words about what it's like to be a para trainer and why people shouldn't not be afraid to get involved with it, but why it is a good thing to be involved with?
It's absolutely so rewarding because, like everybody in the para program or in the able-bodied program, everyone has physical challenges, and so and as trainers, we're always trying to bring out the best in riders, whether they be para or able-bodied. And I have to say, it's so rewarding because the tenacity that the para riders have, and just the hunger to achieve and the appreciation they have. It's, like I said, it's really rewarding, and it's a tremendous program. So, and you can really make a difference in people's lives. So I think it's important to do.
And you obviously probably see a very close relationship with the test from able-bodied to para-dressage. I mean, obviously there are some big differences as well. How have you guys, I guess, worked on those things, where you're going into the third-level test and then you're going back to the para-dressage test?
I don't think I don't really approach it differently at all. Like, I am, never, I never cut Mary any slack. It's not like I say, well, it's not quite through, it's not quite straight, it's not, no. I am extremely demanding, and I have very high standards, and find a way to get it done. And if we don't get it done this way, then we'll try this approach, and then we'll try this approach. But never have I ever lowered the standards because I thought, oh, it's a para rider. That would not cross my mind or Mary's mind. So, no. She's I'm tough on her, but she's tougher on herself. So, like I said, I really haven't really found a big difference. And the para tests, grade 4, are tough. I mean, you've got, and the judges, you think I don't cut any slack. I mean, I was there at Gladstone, and they are tough. They were absolutely, not, they were very, very, they kept a very high standard, and it was not a para standard. It was just a high standard.
An FEI standard or more.
Absolutely.
And what are your plans going forward? You'll be working with Mary, but I have heard that maybe you'd be kind of like the region area if a person was interested in working with you. Is that true?
I'm always open. I'm in Kentucky, and so, like I said, I have a very nice facility to work out of. So, I'm always open, and like I said, anyone who has any interest in the program is free to have them give me a call and discuss what their goals are, and if I can help them out, I'm happy to give it a go.
That's wonderful.
So what's the next big thing you guys are working on together? I know Mary is going to Kentucky, and is it down in Florida for the shows down there, and then possibly Ontario in 2016?
Well, that's really the goal. We have our very short-term goal, which is next week, and then our next short-term goal would be the CDI, the first weekend in January, and then we're sort of step by step. See what makes the most sense, and just trying to get, because we're positioning him to sort of strength after strength after strength, and like I told Mary when she got him, you are not going to take this horse. Once you get home, it's I'm going to help advise you on this, because you're not going to show this horse till he's ready, because I think this is truly an international caliber horse, and you're an international caliber rider, and you are not going to show before you are ready. So that's why we're doing it step by step. If she's out there scoring big numbers, if she's in the 70s, then we, take one path. If we need more time in the basics, we take another path. But, ultimately our end goal is by 2016, I'd like her to be a real contender for Rio, not just to make the team, but to also be an individual medalist. So now is the time when we're really laying the foundation for a solid foundation in the future.
Well, that sounds like a great plan, and we wish you luck. And it sounds like you guys have a terrific partnership. And Mary, again, best of luck next week in Kentucky to you and Rubicon, and as well to you, Jim. And thanks for everything you're doing for para.
Well, that was fun hearing from Jim and Mary. And I think we should also add that one of our other para-dressage riders' horse, Ellie Brimmer's horse, London Swing, will also be at the finals. And her horse will be showing with her trainer, Rosalind Kinsler. So that's pretty exciting. Her horse was also at the 2014 Para Equestrian Dressage National Championships and will be at these finals as well.
Well, that's great news, too, to have a para horse competing with a para trainer at the finals. So I'm sure that's going to be a wonderful thing to watch. Well, it's been great being on with you again, Lindsay. Thanks so much for inviting me to co-host.
Of course. You're one of my favorites.
Wait a minute,
Thank
one of
you.
your favorites?
Anytime.
Wait a minute, one of your favorites?
Well, you know. Jen, you're also one of my favorites. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on the website at dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Just search for Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. And you can learn more about the United States Para Equestrian Association at uspea.org and on Facebook. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. And remember, one man's wrong lead is another man's counter canter.